Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today's article that I will discuss has to do with Venezuela, United States, Chevron company, and two companies, energy companies, oil companies from Italy and Spain. This is the micro uh, issue. The macro issue is that we have a protectionist um, world in doing business. That is, you have United States that decides who does business with who is allowed to do that. And based on that, they allow you to have access to certain countries and enrich yourself. Imagine that you and your other three neighbors are into lumber business, and but only I am allowed by someone else to go in the woods and get lumber, but you're not allowed. You have to wait until that someone decides that only that you can also come. So obviously I will be going in, get lumber, and then sell it. So I will make profit while you don't. Or I will have access to those woods. You don't have access to those woods because that guy said so. So that's how it works with Venezuela. United States imposed sanctions on Venezuela because United States is a good country and Venezuela is a bad country. Wink, wink, right? So then, because Venezuela doesn't allow to have its oil robbed and raped by whomever has the biggest muscle in the world, and there's a problem with that. So there you have sanctions, which means certain countries are not allowed to do business with Venezuela. Why? Because United States imposed sanctions and everybody has to respect those sanctions. But China and others, right, who are strong, because we have a big club here. The big club with the big guy and the club that right now is forming, which is Russia and China, possibly India and other countries. So as you know, Chevron, only Chevron, that's a US company, is allowed to operate in Venezuela. No other companies, at least from the Western countries. Why? Because of the sanctions. Now, if you sanction someone, for because they're bad and you're good, because that's the way it goes, like a religious dogma here. You're evil and I'm good. Yeah, right. Yeah, not a kind of. So we impose sanctions on those guys. The United States government, on Venezuela, right? Venezuela cannot do business with, I don't know, with German companies or with French companies. Only Chevron is allowed to be an operator over there. So you imagine that's a kind of monopoly, isn't it? Now you have China doing dealings with Venezuela because it's outside of United States' influence. But then you have the other ones that can't. And all of a sudden, United States um, decided that they allow two other companies in Europe to go and get the oil, some oil from Venezuela, ship it to Europe because the United States made Europe shoot itself in the foot by imposing an sanctions against Russia. So this is how it works. The boss gives a green line to those two companies from Europe because it's necessary. Well, if these guys are evil, wink, wink, the Venezuelans, why do you do it preferential and not only situational? This is situational. If it's bad, how come you make, you bend here and there, but you allow only two companies, not 15? So there's no competition here. That's you and you go and make a profit. Oh, Chevron is already there. That's our boy. Who's gonna, how to call it, donate at some campaigns, if you know what I mean, because that's how mass democracy sometimes functions. So let's go and see here. This article comes from Reuters from today, June 5th, and this is the title: U.S. to let Eni and Repsol ship Venezuela oil to Europe for debt. So Italian oil company Eni SPA and Spanish Repsol SA could begin shipping Venezuelan oil to Europe as soon as the next month to make up for the Russian crude. The volume of oil Eni and Repsol are expected to receive is not large because that's not how they allow. Don't create too much competition to Chevron or something. And it says that any impact on global oil prices will be modest. But Washington's green light to resume Venezuela's long frozen oil flows to Europe could provide a symbolic boost for Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. So they gave the green light, beep, 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 to the other ones so Europe can have some oil. Europe was not allowed to have access to Venezuelan oil. Why? Because the boss said so. That's how it works, right? It says the U.S. State Department, that's who decided. Some bureaucrats. They decided, not elected, bureaucrats. They gave the nod to the two companies to resume shipments in a letter. And then the same in the same time they gave their agreement for Chevron to have their license extended, I think, for 6 months to do business in Venezuela. So let's see here. China is doing some business over there. Other excluded. So other companies are excluded. Washington has not made similar allowances for U.S. oil majors and the State Department and Treasury Department to take oil to return for billions of dollars in accumulated debts from Venezuela. So now they say, oh, for that, we're going to allow these two companies, and Chevron will do some hanky-panky stuff. Let's see what Chevron does. Right, Washington, Maine. Well, they try to actually. This is the business they try to do with Venezuela. You guys, you're gonna earn some money out of this, but then you have to take care of that weasel guy. I can't remember his name. The Venezuelan opposition guy. I can't remember. So I remember by the end of this video probably. Chevron's request to the U.S. Treasury to expand its operations in Venezuela came as the State Department issued the non-objection letter to any and Repsol. So it says here that the U.S. oil major did receive a 6-month continuation of a license that preserves its assets and U.S. approval to talk with Venezuelan government officials about future operations. So it's Chevron who's allowed, and these two companies from Europe to bring to Chevron just to operate there. China has become the largest customer for Venezuelan oil, which as much as 70% of monthly shipments destined for its refineries. Yeah, it seems like that's a fight with China as well. But China, as I said, is not Guaido. That's the guy. Guaido. Maduro has to be friends with Guaido and somehow allow Guaido to be, who's recognized as the president of the United States, Venezuela, by the club. And they try to push this guy. Once this guy is over there, he's going to open the country's energy, its natural resources to the vultures, and they will not have a competition because the United States again will prevent, because they say, oh, we're going to open the sanctions. Little by little, we'll lift them, little by little. In the meantime, yeah, you can go in. No, you can't go in. Yeah, you can go in. You wait. Now you can go. No, you still wait. That's how it's going to work. And this is free competition. This is capitalism. And this it doesn't happen only like that globally. It happens here too. If you know the right people and all kind of you make the right donations, you're going to be the first on the list. So yeah. United States gave a green light to two European energy companies, oil companies, to go and get some oil from an independent country, who's a bad dude, independent sovereign country. And imagine, let's say that a country that is not part of the European Union or NATO, let's say Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, let's say, decides, you know what, I want to do business with Maduro. I want its oil. I want to make some deals. Let's say they're capable and able and willing to send, their tankers over there and do. Do you think the United States is going to say, okay, yeah, we're cool? Do you think that's what's going to happen? Poor guys. They're going to destroy them economically, threats, blackmail, and military. A little regime change if necessary. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart. That's the world operates in reality. Be just, look for the truth. See you next. Ciao.